real quick, actually, before we play, because this is actually a pretty big deal. Fubar Duck tweeted out that Mori's data got removed from the company info section. So 2 years ago, he did get like a position like move, right? Like I remember they bring up that he was going more into marketing, right? Or more into like a different position. And so like now that Mori is not on there, I don't know if it's like necessarily he left or if it's like, you know, a major restructuring, but hey, come on, let me scroll down. The point is, people brought up this post, right? So this was 2020. So like you can see like this has changed around, right? Your branding fellow. I like fellow. I mean, this is like a positioning. This is like a hook getting God position. Branding fellow. Oh my goodness. I've never heard branding fellow. That's godlike. I love that. But the point is like essentially he's not listed on like with game development as much anymore. I don't know, like I feel like a lot of people are like a super doomer that they're like, oh, Blazblue is dead. But I don't know if it's a matter of that as much as it's like, you know, there's been a lot of history with like things like this in the past. Like, you know, Blazblue once was considered like the spiritual successor to Gear because Gear had a major licensing problem, right? In the late 2000s, I think, with Sega. But I mean, like Blazblue hadn't really been doing super great recently, right? Like obviously like CF, I think a lot of people forget CF is actually one of the biggest, or it was one of the biggest arcade games in Japan, right? Like it was like for fighting games. Obviously Gundam I think was probably literally the biggest, right, before the pandemic. But I know Blazblue was really up there. But then they had that Mobage, right? The Mobage is apparently like kind of brutal. I never like really paid any attention to it, but I heard that like it was like kind of like a disaster, right? Like from people that played it. I don't know, something like that like could be a factor too, right? I think it's worth thinking about and like keeping this in mind because I don't know, like a lot of people are really unhappy with like the movement of Arc Sys, especially in the past few years, right? And Blazblue has always been like kind of like a more like, you know, stick to like the difficult shit kind of game, right? Obviously like BB Tag is a lot more direct, but that is a little different. So I wonder like really, I'm curious about the future of it, but I don't know, like the thing about it is I remember in a documentary with Daisuke, it was I think when Rev 1 first came out. I wonder if I can find it real fast. This is like so fantastic, dude. This is honestly like such a great video. So like this was August 2016. So this is, I guess, like right after Rev 1. It was probably like Rev 1.1, but I know he mentions, I think somewhere that like he and Mori are like they're boys.
モリモリはまあ僕の中でですね、非常に戦友でもありライバルでもありというようなところなんですが、アークシステムワークスの中でギルティギアともう一つすごく有名な格闘ゲームブレイズブルーを作っているプロデューサーですね。俺がギルティ作った時ってめちゃめちゃストイックにハードな格闘ゲームを作った。ブレイブルーが出た時に格闘ゲームとして出るけれどもブレイブルーって世界をみんなで楽しんでもらいたい作り方をしたという話を聞いた時に何
It's interesting to also see like this, especially compared to Strive, right? Because like even Exert was much simplified from older games, right? Like in a lot of ways, like obviously not nearly as much as like Exert to Strive, but Plus Side Exert was pretty substantial.
遊べよって押し付けるのが僕あんまり好きじゃなかったんですよ。昔僕やっぱプラモデルとか作ったじゃないですか。プラモデル作ってる時にどうしても説明書通りに作りたくないんですよ。改造したくなっちゃうんですよ。
わかる。
ね。けどそれって人から見たら邪道なんですよ。なんで俺は満足してるんだよこれで。と同じでそのゲームも人にとってそのいろんな受け止め方ってあるじゃないですか。とりあえずコンテンツとして楽しんでください。だってこれは娯楽なんですから。楽しんでくださいよ。
Recreational. That's a good way to put it. Not for me though. I'm a gamer, but it's cute. Like he talks about like his thought process. He says he like walks around a lot, like for when he gets like inspiration. It's a very sweet documentary. I would highly recommend it. I'll post it in the chat again. Do check it out. It's fantastic. But yeah, like I don't know. It's something worth thinking about because a lot of people are really waiting for like another Blazblue, right? Like CF was like what 5 years ago now. That's pretty long ago. I mean, Rev 2 got its last patch 2018. Yeah, CF 2.0. I know it released in 7 years ago. How would I feel if they stratified Blazblue? I'm not really a big BB player. I like the game a lot, but I've never been as into it. I like Blazblue a lot as is. I don't really know if there really needs to be like something like that where like you need to have major revisions for multiple games. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like it's interesting. So I would keep an eye on that because, you know, if he did leave, you know, like what could that mean, right, for Arc Sys? Because he's been a part of it for a very long time. But it's clear, like in general, like he's probably more away from like game development, basically.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Oh, I just remembered what I have to do in this matchup. I forgot I can't use I have to use Air Fireball. Air Fireball, if they focus on moving too much, is very, very strong. Oh, that was really good jump. A little too committal. There's not really any reason to ID in against Testament. Axel has like one of the best like neutral situations against Testament. So you almost never want to ID or something like that. Oh, I keep doing dash as a 6-6. I need to stop. Well, I should have let it go immediately. I didn't think they'd wake up too late. A lot of how I can approach against this Axel is they tend to commit a lot approaching and also playing a lot of like overly aggressive movements. So I can focus a lot more on being kind of aggressive with my 6Ps and also just kind of forcing things a little more traditionally, like it is a more of a strike throw based matchup. Oh, might hit my top. I got that one. Nice air though.
Slap. Duel 2. Let's rock.
I'm actually surprised that it's like a little too defensive against this roll. I can play a lot more damage. Nice whip. Oh, I got challenged again. Oh, I thought I could run under that. That was an extra one. Oh, nice. I should have done 2 S5E. I gotta swing a lot harder on them since a lot of their movement and approach is pretty committal. You don't need to be nearly as aggressive as Axel against Testament because you don't need to really like even in this position, for example, you don't want to be in a position where you can't really RPS with your movement as much. If you end up forcing things like approaching, it becomes a lot easier to like OS around things like It becomes a lot easier to OS around like general movement and play risk reward if they approach me, because I don't need as much staying hits if I get counter hits, because I can always just lead into that, right? But if they get counter hits, or if they don't get counter hits that often, then you know my options are a little more limited. I may be quiet because I just mute my mic, so I need to adjust that in a second. Sorry. I think that was an accident. Birthday trade seal. Oh, you know what it is? I actually do know. Sorry. I completely forgot. I raised my volume. Alright, it should sound a lot better now. How's that? Yeah, Axel, I think it's very easy to take advantage of just like really basic risk reward in this matchup, because again, the thing that Axel excels at against Testament is that you can always just like get a straight poke and like deal with stain. So it is very important. I'm sorry. It's Swiss knife. I wouldn't say he doesn't care about it, but it's easier for him to deal with. That's all. I keep thinking that's not gonna reach it for some reason. Wow. I'm surprised that counter hit. Nice challenge. I mean, it does just reach, I'm just being greedy.
Duel 1.
Splash. Thanks for it. Nice match, that's good. Oh no. They probably shouldn't have been the meter. I was looking for a bird. It's just not. Yeah, you cannot. I think you can 5e some or 5p sometimes, but it's a big commit. Yeah. Oh, Nate, I was looking for a jump. Oh shit, that still hit me. My sight's too big. Nice that. I don't know what that move's called, but that was good. I think it's rainwater. Or is that rainwater? Slug? I'm gonna start doing that. Yeah, I got hit by slug. That's unfortunate. Air slut. I'm gonna steal that.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
I honestly should just be doing 6P as long as they're using as much Faras as they are, because I can just purely play off of risk reward. I try to do a cool fucking combo. Okay, decision first after that tweet. Oh fuck! I did the wrong one. Don't jump. Thank you. Okay, my bad. Hey. I don't think they bullet bomb. Very nice. Damn. Okay. That was ambitious. Right. Axel Bomber. Alright, what's this? I'm dead. Oh no! Oh, that's new. I like that. That was kinda current. That's just bad at combos. I see what the fuck. I can sit up into 5 easily. Oh fuck! The crow was too high. They can punish it. Oh, nice DK. I should have done jump H. Okay. That's fuzzy throw anyways. This person plays a lot like Tempest. Maybe this is Tempest from the close/5D. That's a classic.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
I actually think that was better for me because of the what's it called? The first hit ended up giving me more pushback. I tried to super. Oh no, I'm dead. I knew that they were gonna go for low there. Damn. Nice bait. I do need to stick to just using more 60 at games. I'm varying my options a little too much for how they're RPSing. I think I can be a lot more linear with how I approach, purely in just like 6Ps and just like far asses when I'm looking for arbiters. Just because the way that they're using a lot of far slash and 5H means I can purely stick around off of counter hit recovery. Your playstyle is a pretty distinct, so.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Or I should say, like, the way you'll try to close that game is it's very easy to tell when it's you, I would say. Nice. I'm okay with that. That's good. May not combo. I hope it does though. Can't. Good for me. That's not good for me. Yes, I was a little too close. Okay. That's good, they get close though. Alright, that's a little too slow. I should have done 5k rather than 2F. Got a little too greedy. I can't. I'm dead. Oops, that's the key, but I actually would have gotten punished, I think. Shouldn't have done that. I need to do more raw Arbiter against them with how they're RPSing like that. Pretty much, I need to be a lot more linear with how I RPS against them. I'm still being a little too varying with a lot of how my decision making is. I need to be sticking to purely just RPS risk reward every time, since I can bank off of those sort of gambles as much as they're coming out. Typically, Axel can always take away a lot of Testament's advantage from neutral, from like playing around Thane and what's it called? I'm surprised that, well, I guess they're pressing at that. I can stick a little more off of just like risk reward with things like that, due to options like Arbiter. Like even after my buns. Wow, that actually won. I'm actually kind of surprised. Jump out. Like those sort of situations when Axel's cornered, that's when it's still pretty rough. Like, you know, like the only thing that makes this like manageable is the fact that I shouldn't say manageable, it's like the thing that makes this a lot more approachable is that you can always bank on the fact that if you corner Axel, he's probably gonna die from a distance. I did try to stick to you, so I would've got with finish anyway. Far out. I feel like normally I would traditionally just do far S, 2d6s, and RPS around it, but since a lot of their approaches with far S or RPSing around that, I've been just kind of banking on the fact that I can RPS with Arbiter after to just like kind of keep like getting enough pressure to the point where I only need like 1 or 2 Arbiters to kill Axel.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Pop. Hey. Oh fuck, I looked at chat. Oh shit. It's not public yet, but it will be when I upload the video. Very neat. Yeah, I upload them in the the video description. He sent it. Oops, I fucked up. Oh, I need to start using more 5-8. That's actually something I should have been using more against Tempest. Because when you corner Axel after a regular like pressure string, you can RPS more with 5-8 as well. If they RPS on approaching you with things like Far S or 2K, 5-8 is one of your best options because of the risk of the reward. Is it scary? I mean, like, I don't like when I talk about things like strategies. I'm not just like saying shit. Right? Like a lot of it is based on like how I watch you play or how I watch like other people approach things. So like usually like I'll like sometimes I can tell, right? Not always. I'm not like omni. I'm not omni, present or omni knowing whatever the fuck. I got omni right, yeah.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
I mean, it's not just that as well, like, but they're like, that was the thing that made me realize that's definitely you. I could have gone Arbiter after. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Alright, what's this? Oh, I missed my dash. I literally did nothing but dash forward and I still dropped it. What the fuck? Well, to be fair, I did get a new monitor. That's my excuse. There is. But I don't remember the input. But it's not that big a deal. Thanks. Puzzle is fun. Oops. I think I got 5D. It's type 8. Do I have to mess with settings? I mean, like, I upgraded from a 60 Hz monitor. So, like, I finally got 144p. Because everyone I knew was like, oh, you still use 60 Hz? Oh, how? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't even... For 144 Hz, not here. I do notice it though. I think your approach isn't terrible, but I think it's based around a lot of air dashing and like kind of committing with like big dashes in the buttons. It's not terrible for Leo usually, but it's harder for Leo to approach Testament for like a variety of reasons, right? Fireball is one of your best options in the matchup, but you have to be careful because I can always just like, Arbiter, right? But like in between that, one of your best tools is to Fireball. But you don't want to overuse it because again, I can still just, Arbiter. But regular like S Fireball is very good. It has Leo has like the same sort of thing where it's like most characters depending on their what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, there you can also throw too. Teleport is very punishable. But Leo has the advantage of like other characters where like he can have opportunities to deal with what's it called? To deal with Stain, right? With Fireball. But it's not like the best. It's still like ideally you have to be very careful about how you approach because if you focus too much purely on just like approaching through one like direct way, it's gonna be very easy to just like stop with how good Testament's options are, you know? Nice for it. My thought process when choosing between 5 PP charge on hit, it's usually depending on Oki or like positioning like that, because depending on like the sort of situation where they end up, sometimes you may want more distance, sometimes you can be a little greedier with fully charged if it's gonna meaty them or like, you know, OTG them. So it really just depends on like the character and like what you're kind of looking for. If there's a more specific situation you're looking for, I can give my reasoning. I think I could have killed if I did Arbiter into the other Super, but it is what it is. I've been incorporating that more into my vocabulary. It is what it is. I don't know why. Let's wipe that from the memory bar. I am uninstalling that data from my brain. I can't. So like the thing that makes Fireball really good is that once you establish the threat of it, it becomes very easy to like be a lot more aggressive, right? So if I have to consider that, it may make like more general approaches with like 2D and air dash better. So currently I kind of just like bulldoze them to the corner because they use too much charge Fireball. Ow. I also notice they use a lot of crossups, which is good because I do need to get used to seeing the follow-up, you know? Or like, sorry, the corner version now. Man. One other thing that not a lot of people know about is also you can actually interrupt between 2K2D. For characters like Leo, it's actually not that bad to just like RPS with it sometimes, because the only way they can make it gapless from 2K is if they do 6 speed, which in turn won't, like, you know, you won't be at like risk basically. But obviously they could just bait it with like 2P or 2K, but like no one ever like does that, so I never end up doing it. But it's worth implementing like just as an option, you know what I mean? Ugh, I'm hungry. What do I eat today? I actually had a chicken sandwich last night, and I kind of regret it because I've been feeling sick. In general, like I mean, I've been sick for a while. I don't know, we may have to eat healthy. Sad. I got off easy. If they ended in super, I think that almost would have killed me. Wait, oh, that makes sense actually. What's up, Ace? Thanks for the Ace. Thanks a lot for being a part of it. I really appreciate it. That's okay. Oh. I still got their gold first, so it could have been worse. I guess I didn't get a punish to jump cage. This is kind of what I mean. If you represent air dash too much, it becomes easy to just like structure all my pressure on air dash, right? Thanks so much for the sub, Kim. I really appreciate you. So like now I'm literally only looking for them to jump. Oh, that time I did I did partially charge, or I did like non-homing throw, so I just aced it. They did. Oh no, the fucking the tether. I thought they'd still fly into the wall. I'd recommend getting better at confirming hits and not dropping combos as someone who loses all cognitive function as the round starts. One of the things that'll help you a lot is, one, keeping notes that you can constantly check or things like that, as well as I have a video on like the kind of guide that I tend to do, right? Or the guide that I try to, or a guide. Sorry, I keep fumbling over it. I have a guide on how to like practice with punishing or like looking for hit confirming. And if you have like a guide of what I note in that video, it'll probably be able to help you a lot with like learning it. Really, I think the things that people need to keep in mind when they try to practice things like that is that, one, it's like you have to have a process and you have to constantly drill it into your mind if you tend to forget it, right? So my solution was I had a notepad on one screen when I would play like Exert, and then I would play Exert and just like look back after every round and try to incorporate something from it. I do something similarly now, but like most of the time I would just do it like off the top of my head rather than look for or like have like an established notepad just because I'm streaming. But if I'm playing like if I'm playing casuals, I'll use a notepad. I'm gonna do that more to Baiken as well. If you FD the first hit and she goes into if you FD the first hit of TD and she does a second hit, the tatami won't connect and you can punish her with far out. That's cute. If they had air dash at me, that actually would have worked that time. I got a little ambitious. Watch the like. This tournament is Testin a good tournament character? It depends on what you're looking for in a tournament character. I mean, I play them in tournaments, so I would say yes. Well, my bad. Don't hurt me. Did I see that tweet that was just calling Testin players bot? No. Let me teach you. You guys want to know the real secret to be good at video games? You guys want to know the tech? when someone makes makes this comments like that, you just don't think about it. You don't you just ignore it. You move on. I think Twitter can be useful for some things, but there's a lot of bad in how it's used. The rule of thumb is, like, if you see something you disagree with, you should think about why you have to, like, why you'd want to, like, reach out, like, make a scene of it. You know what I mean? If someone thinks, like, if Testament is the most bought character in Strive, then that's cool. That's their opinion. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. I'm dead. That's like something I really thought about a lot. Like, because this is actually kind of connected to ego, right? Like, why does it matter if, like, let's talk about this, right? Like, there's actually like a good discussion. Why does it matter? So, like, think about that. Like, if Flash thinks Testament is like the most broken character, like the scrubbiest character, or whatever, then like that's their opinion. They're invalidating my heart. That emote is broken. Whose emote is that? What is that? I love that. Yeah, like, I think participating in Twitter is fun. It's just like, the problem with a lot of it is people, like, they're like, this is, you think that my character is number 3 when actually they're number 4, and if you ever say that again, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, that's like that. And it's just like, who cares? It's literally just one person feeling away. just play video games. Yeah. Wow, that's the combo. Oh my god, I think they dealt off those. Oh, never mind. It was too paraded. Sorry. That was really good movement. I'm actually really impressed. Even though the DP was middle, that was like, the movement was so good. You cannot even get angry at that. Sorry. Oh, my bad. I swear to god, I butcher your name every time. I'm sorry. Thank you for the 8 months. I really Oh, that was not intentional. Don't kill me. I'm dead. I just got kneed in the face. I should do a lot more air throws because of how they're structuring a lot of their movement. We'll play one more set and we'll structure a lot more movement around air throwing every time and also punishing them for being a little too defensive. In neutral, I think they could be a little more aggressive with how they contest a lot of my approaches with things like let's say if I like do 2d6s crow, a lot of the time they just like kind of sit there and take the whole the interaction without contesting as much. I think like they could afford to try to like move a little bit more to kind of RPS around it. But this matchup is definitely not easy.
Duel 1. Let's
P. That was great. Nice P again. That was God spaces. This guy's godlike. Like that, for example, kind of what I mean. But I know it is. That is also an archetype, or it can be. Leggy. This is a lot of the matchup. Oh no. We delayed it long enough. We did it. That was like the first time I've had Oki like that actually worked. I shouldn't have bursted that because that would have done like no damage. Bursting, or sorry, not bursting. Spending the meter there to go for that small extension probably wasn't really worth it. That's kind of what I mean too. You can contest with movement a lot more than I think people think sometimes. Oh no, they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done this again. So I guess they could kill me at the next one. That's alright. Nice. What's it? Like, I don't know about on reaction. I think on reaction is pretty bold. It's probably possible, but I don't know about how like reliable. Since they're structuring a lot of their pressure on preemptive 6P to cover that, it allows me to go for way more Arbiter, which in turn allows them to move a lot more, which in turn, you know, it's RPS. I always fuzzy match after that. There's do not go for that. Oh my god! I think they just tried to do I think they just tried to do what's it called? HMC, but it wouldn't have worked. Any tips for fighting against Testament as Eno? Be very careful about forcing scrambles a lot of the times, because you have to remember that Testament's most consistent return is off of stains. So like if you, even if like you have like some situations that you can, like you're not like gonna lose instantly if you are wrong, you have to consider the stains same way you would kind of consider like the Oki situation for a character like Eno or like Milia. Oh yeah, Chemical Love is not that bad if we're dealing with success. Oh, that was way too slow. I even air throw once around. The situations are so good for me that I can just like sit on my projectiles and shit.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Oh no. Am I still here? Okay. I didn't say spam Chemical Love. I said use it when you're dealing with people like that. Very important difference. Using something with intention is a lot different than just seeing something as is, you know?
Perfect. Duel 2. Let's rock.
Like, Kate has like no recovery. What's the wall stick? I was looking for gold first. I pressed far S after, so even if I was fast enough, it wouldn't have even worked. I expected that. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. Stay safe. Thanks a lot for hanging out, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye bye.